I'm sick, which is why I don't have on makeup and I don't look nearly as nice or as good, or I sound stuffy. I'm super dedicated to my job and I'm still here recording. Before I begin, I'm going to give a reminder that it has been 1 year since Von Holtz passed away. Those of you who don't know who the Von Holtz was one of my best friends. And he has been here since I had less than 100 subscribers, and it's so surreal to realize he's been gone. Died from COVID a year ago. Today. Life's only temporary. Enjoy it while you have it. And now that I have started the first minute of this video on that depressing note, let's talk about Gundam games. Yeah, you guys thought that was going to be ad time, didn't you? I don't have sponsored ads. You guys pay for everything, or I don't have the ability to get it. That's how this works. So, we're talking about two very different Gundam games from the same Gundam franchise / style of game making. Let's go over the where and why of these games before we get started. Also, before I begin, I'm going to get into this and possibly head towards the realm of total, absolute, off-the-wall tangent. Please note, SD Gundam is a fantastic series as far as actually, playing Gundam. Cross Rays and Genesis are both good games and fine examples. It's just one is vastly superior than the other. Both need a little polish here and there, and possibly an expansion so that, they finish everything up. I mean, personally, I would prefer they go full XCOM instead of halfway XCOM Final Fantasy Tactics, and just let us command a unit in our own personal story. Hey, Bandai, knock knock. You don't have to keep telling your stories over and over again. Just saying. That caveat aside, let's see which of these two games you should buy and why. SD Gundam is a game in which you are commander of a force of mobile suits, an organization, unit, whatever you want to call it, and other support equipment such as tanks, planes, fighters, battleships, transport ships, and mobile armor. They're chibi size because it makes them cute. No, really, that's actually not why they're chibi size. In reality, the reason is because of this. The original pieces of this series came out on the NES, and making a full-size mobile suit actually able to move all of its arms and limbs was far too difficult for that day and age, so they just made them chibi, and the weapons are the only thing on them that really move or change position, as well as the facing that they're having. It was a really cool programming trick back then, and since they decided to just keep that aesthetic moving into newer and newer games. Now, we've come a very long way. Though the spirit of the franchise and to maintain it, they've remained chibi, the systems and everything about the games, as well as the ability to keep playing the same unit past single battle, has really drastically altered how this game series works and functions. If you treat this like an X-style combat and unit management without the chance of totally being destroyed, that's basically what it is. The lose condition is only mission to mission. There's no chance for you to lose your campaign entirely. The Gundams and anime-based named pilots are treated like collectible items and cards for you to get, but you can also make custom pilots in these two games for the first time, and apparently it's its most popular feature. Hey, Bandai, I wonder why. Maybe I don't want to control Hero Yui or Armoro Ray. Maybe, just maybe, I want to be the one in the mobile suit with my friends. Looking at you, Bandai. Let's really get into the review. The process of acquisition, the gameplay itself, and the fun parts, the differences in game length, story is available, music quality, customization options, and there's other little nitpicks here and there. Let's talk about actually acquiring a copy of the games. This is actually really important. So to get an English version of Cross Rays, I go on Steam, I search Cross Rays Gundam, there it is, I hit purchase, done. Cool, easy, simple, legal, done. Now, to get Genesis, which has a full English translation, it's just not available in my region. So, switch to a VPN, right? Genesis is on the PS4, and the PS4 is region locked by account and account location. So in order to acquire the English translation, which does not actually include English voice actors in either translation, I'm disappointed by that, genuinely. I have to do the following. 1. Create a PS4 account in Singapore. That is to say, set the profile setting to Singapore and create a completely separate PS4 account. 2. Turn off my PS4. 3. Load my PS4 and log into the Singapore account. Should be noted that you have to not use any other services and have them disabled. Netflix, YouTube, all those services that would require an IP address. Further, if you log into a different PlayStation account and you still want to do this, you have to turn the PlayStation 4 off and start over. Now, that you've done all of that, go to the PS4 store. The only place you go while you're in this Singapore account that you made on your PS4, that all you did was set its region to Singapore. Search the store for SDG Gundam Generations. You will find this game. Purchase game. It should be noted, if you order a physical copy from, say, Amazon, you still have to make the Singapore profile to install it. But once it's installed, any profile can use it regardless of the region or home base of that profile. You heard that correctly. Once you install the game, I can load back into my normal North American account and use it. Now ask me how stupid region locking is and was it worth it? Why would I not just play Cross Rays? Oh, you sweet summer child. You misunderstand. If you're just playing Cross Rays, you're getting the worst experience despite the fact it was published 3 years after Genesis. First nitpick, and our video editor has these two screens put up side by side. Now, having watched the two opening sequences, which do you want to play? That's right, the aesthetics for Cross Rays can only be described as absolutely repulsive. Seriously, the art department put so much effort into the title screen and yet did nothing at all. Yeah, these two menu screens are from the same kind of game. The one on the left, Genesis, is 3 years older than Cross Rays. Further, let's take a look at the actual intro animations. You'll see here on the Genesis that the music rises and falls, it takes risks, it actually brings me in, and they're labeling where each year or what each part of the Gundam franchise that this particular scene is from. And then we look over at Cross Rays. It's a mess. Because they've tried to cram all of the alternate universes into a single game. They don't bother to tell me what anything is, or label it, or anything like that, and the music is just this long, drawn-out Japanese pop dirge that has no rising, no falling, no swelling. It doesn't get me pumped or excited. Genesis immediately draws me in. Cross Rays is not only shorter for its intro sequence, it's less polished, music is less catching, and it just... Also, a reminder, the alternative timelines are batshit crazy and have nothing to do with Universal Century, and each series has its own original story for Mobile Suit, as well as for Gundams, and their own version of Char. The AU's a mess, isn't it? Let's talk about the music for Cross Rays in general. It's awful. It's absolutely not a treat or a delight. It doesn't draw me in. I've picked a variety of tracks from Cross Rays. You'll notice a theme here. They're all dramatic, thematic music. Nothing light and fun. No pop songs, no jazz, nothing. It has 156 tracks. You can unlock more tracks by completing a daily mission. But there are only 7 of these tracks that I would not classify battle music, and of those 7, 5 of them I would say are someone playing a piano at a funeral. Then let's take a look at Genesis. Immediately, I'm just going to select all the different custom pilots music and let you listen to it in and out for a minute. As you can see, it's a variety of different pieces, a variety of different music, and more importantly, there are even more musical tracks. Oh boy! If the music's this bad, how bad's everything else? Well, Cross Rays does have one big advantage over Genesis. You get custom character slots. More of them than you do in Genesis. Gee, I wonder why. It's almost like we would want to play through a unique story for this particular style of game with our own custom squad and custom characters and custom people. I wonder if maybe Bandai should take the hint. However, the problem with Cross Rays is half of the avatars are the same. It's nice that you can, make it where I can see their eyes and their full face, and therefore not have this darked out thing. I really wish they would just make a custom character generator that would let me generate characters, but they don't. Half of the characters are just the same character put into a mobile suit flight suit. And the quadrupling of how many characters... No. There's hide face mode that supposedly doubles how many different avatars you can have for custom characters. That's bullshit. And half of them are just the difference in the character in a uniform versus in a flight suit. And you don't have anything unique or cool. Like, let's go over to Genesis for a little bit. Hey, that's cool. They have characters in civilian clothes. They have characters in mechanics outfits. They have all sorts of things. Why isn't this carried over 3 years later? What the fuck? I apologize, I'm still fighting sickness to get through this review, but we're going to get through it together, I hope. But further, Bandai's archaic method of setting things up prevents you from using mods without some pretty severe hacks. That kind of sucks. Because what if I just wanted to, photo in me as a character in the game? Can't do it. What if I want to put my pony in? Can't do it. That's how obscenely restrictive they're being. Which is dumb. So the characters have fewer avatars, fewer voice actor choices, and definitely a worse music selection, but you get 5 more slots for worse selections, less character models, and oh yeah, some of these voice actors are literally the same voice actors and you can tell. Why would you do this? This isn't a game where you get to do some real fun things. Why wouldn't you just let me have its own story? You could literally hire a writer and a team to take the core elements you have here, include all of the mobile suits, and just let us make our own story. Fuck is wrong with you, Bandai? Anyway, moving on. I'm gonna interrupt my own tangent. 70% of you are subscribed. That's good. However, for spite purposes, less than 1 in 5 of you will press the like button. And if you want to be up in the elite of elite in the top 10%, only 10% of you will be subscribed and press the like button. And if you want to be in the 1% club, that means you'd have to be subscribed, press the like button, and leave a comment. Something as simple as ... for the algorithm would do. Every little bit helps. It reminds me that this is content you guys want me to keep making. So, push the button. Push the other button. Type your message. You have a task to become the 1% club. Back to the games. So aesthetically, Cross Rays is worse just about every way. The menus suck. Surely, with terrible character creator, with the character creator being dumbed down, even though you get 5 more slots, I'm going to keep emphasizing that point. You could literally start a counter if you want, video editor, for every time I say you get 5 more custom character slots, just to irritate everyone, to see how many times I say that as the only feature it has over Genesis. Surely, there are more mobile suits, missions, stories, better writing, and character pilots to make a... What am I talking about? You saw the menu for Cross Rays. This is low effort if I've ever seen it. Not in the slightest. I'm going to list some of the reasons why. 1. Alternative universe Gundams are significantly worse in about every way than Universal Century because they just don't have as many mobile suits. The Leo is featured in Gundam Wing from start to finish and never truly goes away. There are usually less than 5 episodes of Gundam Wing before a Leo shows up. Not kidding. The reason why the first half of Gundam Seeing, an alternative universe retelling of the original Mobile Suit Gundam, is acceptable and good, and the second season is considered a dumpster fire. There's a very good reason for that. There are many people who've analyzed it better than I have, but in short, in the early season of Gundam, in the first season of Gundam Seed, they get rewarded for doing the morally and ethically right thing and punished for doing the wrong thing. And then in the second season, they get rewarded regardless if they do the right thing or not. And it pisses everybody off. Gundam Ring is what we grew up with on Toonami. But now if you go back and watch it, you're like, man, this is edgy. Really edgy. Dumpster fire edgy. Of the series included in Cross Rays, Iron-Blooded Orphans, Build Divers, and Mobile Fighter G are probably the only ones worth playing. Iron-Blooded Orphans because the story is a worthy story, and the second half, you are technically the bad guys. Which makes it really interesting to see what it's like to just straight up embrace being the bad guys. Build Divers because you're just having fun. You're just making mobile suits and going in and fighting. There's nothing more complicated than that. Mobile Fighter G because the story takes the piss. It just takes a piss with it. And going full Warhammer 40k level stupid with Gundams. I'm okay with this. After all the DLCs, there are fewer missions, the missions are easier or not as challenging design-wise, and they generally feel Cross Rays against the developers' hearts were simply not into it. It feels like it was rushed out using previous games' tech and software to just reskin a bunch of things. Further, Cross Rays supposedly boasts an increased number of units, except for their reskins. I went through 7 of the same fucking Leo. just with different paint jobs. Same weapons, same stats, different paint job. In Genesis, I took 4 Zaku 1s, or 2 Zaku 1s and 2 Zaku 2s into a squad of 4, and developed them into crazy off-the-wall war machines. We started referring to them as Chad Squad, because they had generic mass-produced units that were just absolutely over-the-top ridiculous. I ended up with Zaku 3, Hyzax, unique Doms, and even a couple of units that I'd never even seen before. And over here at Cross Rays, I'm on the same Leo. There's literally no point to playing the Leos other than collecting. It doesn't reward you for using the underpowered mobile suits. So unit type counts are down, selection of characters has been lowered, but you get 5 more custom character slots, even if your number of slots are restricted in terms of customization. Let's go to the next piece of NDC. So according to Google, Cross Rays has more missions than Genesis. Bullshit. Cross Rays has more story arcs to draw from. Some of their story arcs are 1 mission. That's it. Cross Rays have 15 stories and 3 versions of Gundam Seed. Genesis is a longer game and has the unique advantage of including other video games in the Gundam series, such as White Dingo, which has by far been the funnest thing I've ever done, because every single time that it came up that I had to say White Dingo in the dialogue, I'd sit there and go, White Dingo! As though I'd lost my mind. And Blue Destiny and Thunderbolt, they released a DLC for Gundam Thunderbolt on a game that's 3 years old. You've also got legendary series backing Genesis like Stardust Memory, Char's Counterattack, 0080 War in the Pocket. Cross Rays has Gundam Wing and Gundam Seed, and then it has all Iron-Blooded Orphans, and I think out of all of those, only one of them's worth playing. Beat for beat, story for story, Genesis also challenges you on missions with objectives that are legitimately puzzle-solving hard. I failed several of these objectives the first time through. I had to come back and play the mission over again. And you have to truly understand the mechanics, whereas Cross Rays doesn't do that. A lot of the time the mission objectives are pretty freaking easy. They look challenging on the surface, and then you actually perform them, and you're like, no, this is bone dry easy. Cross Rays has something else over Genesis, however, and I'm going to get into that now. I have been sick, and it's annoying, and I'm doing everything I can. Thank you for suffering through this video with me. Now, Cross Rays does have dispatch missions, where you can send your MS teams out when you're not playing to gather resources, items, or extra customization options. They take between 30 minutes to 24 hours. It's a nice add-on. Doesn't make a game to have a passive wait timer thing, though. Cross Rays has raid squads. This is where the mobile suit teams go without a mothership. They recharge some of their enemy energy and health based on proximity to each other every turn, allowing you to not have to take entire turns where a team must return to the ship to repair, reload, and rearm. However, in practice, because recharge rates are so low to start with, raid teams end up being inferior to the mothership method for about half the game. It's only once the characters who are piloting those suits are properly leveled up with high enough stats that raid teams can become more efficient than mothership teams. Furthermore, raid teams have fewer mobile suits. Raid teams take 3 fewer mobile suits than the motherships for some reason. You don't have a master suit, and the teams are physically smaller, making them actually far less effective in an actual mission than just taking a bloody mothership. Why would you handicap that feature so badly? I would have thought that not taking the mothership and not having the firepower of a goddamn battlecruiser would have been enough, but no. Not only must we remove the battlecruiser from you, let's just take a couple mobile suit pilots out and throw them in the dumpster too, okay? Great, so the two things that Cross Rays have going for it are either real-life timer-timed and time-gated, or physically inferior to the standard method that was established in Genesis. But you get 5 extra custom character slots! Why do we have a limit on custom characters anyway? Let me put it this way. Having gone over all this, every single bit, from character designer to voice actors to music to mission count. Stories, playtime, price tag, everything. I have played, including time to record, including the time it took me to record, I have put 15.5 hours into Cross Rays. Genesis I have nearly 1,000 in. And I still haven't finished all of Genesis because I haven't sat down to do it. But if you guys want to on stream, if this video hits 100 likes, we will go back and finish Genesis on stream. So you got a goal now. 100 likes, you get to have Genesis on stream. Having gone over all of this, every bit of it, Genesis is the better game, period. Even though the acquisition method is incredibly strange and funky, it's the better game. Not only that, it's cheaper. Currently on Steam, Gundam Cross Rays will run you $60 for the game and $25 if you buy a season pass, and you still have to buy the expansion pack for another $8. All total, to get everything Cross Rays has to offer right now this second, is $93. To get everything Genesis has to offer, including all the DLC, including the recent Thunderbolt DLC, cost me a grand total of $72. And that being the ownership of a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, because it's backwards compatible. Also, in my personal opinion, a true dub would absolutely make these games shine. You wouldn't even have to really do a dubbing. You could just use the audio files from your DVDs, Bandai, if you weren't going to make your own personal story. But if you would make your personal story and make a true Gundam XCOM, where you can actually lose the campaign, where you can die, where everything can be lost, would make it better, period. And keep us in Universal Century, please, where things make sense. My personal opinion. But yes, even with all the hassle I have to go through, Genesis on the PS4 or Switch, by the way, it's on the Switch, and you can do the same process to get it on the Switch. It's the better game. I would go one step further and email Bandai and tell them this region locking shit's stupid. Thank you for watching, by the way. Thank you for carrying on to the end of this and understanding that there's a lot of time and effort put into this. Things like the capture card for the PS4 that allowed us to get the Genesis footage, the video games themselves, and our video editor cost money. You want more videos, I want to make more content for you, I need funding. My apartment rent just went from $500 to $1,020 plus utilities because my roommate moved out. I'm going to need all the help I can get.
I mean, every little helps.
In order to keep the apartment. It's that simple. Also, the reason why the rent went up so high is because the company that owns this place changed, and they're doing renovations and trying to gentrify it when there's not really much gonna happen like that in the desert, and we know it, we're laughing at them. I will be streaming something later today. This probably came out Friday or Saturday, and I'm trying to make a video a week for you guys. But then again, it would only be possible with the fine folks here from Patreon in the credits who have provided money to make it happen. Also, I made this video in spite of being sick. I had to pause my freaking outro to sneeze. Please, do hit the like button and leave a comment. I work as hard as I can for you guys, and I hope that it's worth your time. As a side note, again, I'm not saying this is a review that Cross Rays is a bad game, but there's a vastly superior one that's region locked that you can unregion lock by just making a Singapore-based PS4 account. I really have issue with region locking, can you tell? So do take into account that Cross Rays is not a bad game. It's just there's a better one. And I really wish it was just available on Steam. Like any logical person. Bandai, I want to hand you money. I want to give you my money. Let me give you my money. Please? That's all I'm saying. Anyway, hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think. I'll talk to you guys later. Good night.